Welcome back to the channel. All right, we're ready to start talking about ionic compounds. Ionic compounds are the foundation of chemistry. Once you know how to write a formula, name a compound, chemistry will become much easier, less challenging for sure. So the types of ionic compounds that we're going to deal with, we'll talk about binary compounds, which is just simply a cation and an anion, or a metal and a nonmetal. Then you have transition metals, which have multiple charges. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then you have polyatomic ions. I mentioned polyatomic ions in the resource lecture, and if you want to refer back to that video, you can memorize and make flashcards for that. And then finally, we'll name. Naming is important to understand for ionic because it's different when you have other types of substances. Once you have your periodic table, you're going to look at your periodic table and learn how to use it as a resource. We talked about that. You have cations, you have anions. Your cations are going to be positively charged, your anions are going to be negatively charged. You have the transition metals, which have multiple charges and they vary. It's not set. Zinc and silver have +2 and +1 respectively. Those are the only ones that you can count on. So when we talk about transition metals, we'll talk about specifically what we're going to do for writing those formulas. Okay, let's jump into our first example. You're going to have a metal and a nonmetal. Together they're going to form an ionic compound. Let's look at aluminum and sulfur. Find aluminum and sulfur on your periodic table. Do you see them? Do you have the charges? What you're going to do is you're going to do a swap and drop of the numbers, just the numbers, not the charges, and form your ionic compound. And then we'll check it. So swap and drop. Okay, so we're just going to write down the numbers that are our charges currently and make them subscripts. You're going to swap the 2 from the sulfur and place it with the 2, or make it the 2 for aluminum, and the 3 from aluminum to go with the sulfur. So you now have Al2S3. Check it. You have a +6 and a -6. That means your formula for aluminum and sulfur as an ionic compound is Al2S3. Okay, did you get Al2S3? Great job. So let's look at these next two examples here. You have barium and chlorine and lithium and oxygen. Find barium on your periodic table, find the charge, find chlorine, find its charge, and then do the swap and drop. Swap the superscript for a subscript. Did you get the answer? Okay, let's check it. You have a +2 and a -2. That means your answer is BaCl2. You don't write the 1 just like you don't write the 1 in math. Try lithium and oxygen. What do you get? Very similar, Li2O. Great job. Okay, it's time to look at transition metals. Transition metals have multiple charges, as we mentioned before. They are all cations, but with the exception of zinc and silver, you have to look at the Roman numeral to determine the charge of your transition metal. So let's look at our first example. You have iron 3 and oxygen. Iron is going to have a 3+ charge, and oxygen, you're going to look at the periodic table and figure out the charge. Did you find it? Okay, so now that you have your two ions, Fe3+ and O2-, you're going to do a swap and drop. The 2 behind the Fe, the 3 behind the O. You check to make sure that your compound is neutral. and that means your formula is Fe2O3. Did you get it? Good job. Here's a chance for you to try on your own. You have two sets of examples, or two practice problems, if you will. You see nickel has a 2+ charge. What's the charge of chlorine? Remember to swap and drop. Check your response. Everything adds up, so NiCl2 is your formula for nickel 2 and chlorine. Try this next one on your own. You have copper 2 and nitrogen. You did the swap and drop. Cu3 N2. Great job. Okay, let's look at these polyatomic ions. The polyatomic ions, which if you don't by now, you should have flashcards for them. When you're naming with them, the method is the same. You're still going to swap and drop. After you swap and drop with your polyatomic ions, if you have more than one polyatomic ion in a formula, you need to add parentheses around it. So let's practice that here. You have calcium and phosphate. Calcium on the periodic table, you see that charge. Phosphate, you go to your note cards or your flashcards or the previous slide, and you see that it's PO4 3-. Still going to swap and drop. Now you need parentheses around the PO4. Check it to make sure it's okay. And that's your formula. Ca3, open parentheses, PO4, close parentheses, 2. Okay, let's try these examples on your own. You have ammonium and carbonate and magnesium and hydroxide. See if you can get the right answer. Did you get those correct? Did you put the parentheses in the right place? What about hydroxide? Hydroxide can be tricky because there's no subscript. Sometimes people forget to put the parentheses around that polyatomic. All right, let's move on to naming. Naming ionic compounds is fairly straightforward. For your cation, you're just going to name what it is on the periodic table or what the polyatomic cation is. For your anion, you're going to change your ending to IDE. So chlorine would be chloride, sulfur would be sulfide, oxygen, oxide. Those are your examples. Let's look at these and see if we can do them. Did you get these? Pretty straightforward, right? If you need some practice, remember to like and subscribe. Come back for more lessons. We'll talk about acids and covalent molecules next.